The ultimatum. Earth in the year 2255 was nothing like the history books described. The climate wars had ended, the great unification had succeeded, and humanity had spread throughout the solar system under the banner of the United Solar Federation. Mars colonies thrived beneath massive biodomes. The moons of Jupiter housed mining operations that fueled the economy, and massive orbital habitats circled Venus and Mercury, harvesting solar energy on an unprecedented scale. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the USF Invictus, the flagship of humanity's defense fleet. She watched as Earth rotated slowly beneath them, a blue jewel against the blackness of space. At 62, she had spent more than half her life in space, protecting humanity's interests and overseeing its expansion. Admiral, her second in command, Commander Elena Reeves, approached with a tablet in hand. The long-range scanners have detected something unusual. Chen frowned. Unusual how? A gravitational anomaly near Neptune. It appeared suddenly, and it's growing. Before Chen could respond, the ship's AI, interrupted. Admiral, I'm detecting an energy signature unlike anything in our databases. Something is coming through. The anomaly expanded, tearing open the fabric of space itself. From within the rift emerged a vessel unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It was massive, easily 20 times the size of the Invictus, shaped like a twisted spire of black metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Battle stations, Chen ordered, her voice calm despite the tension. But hold your fire. This could be first contact. The entire fleet fell silent as they waited. Then, without warning, a signal burst across all communication frequencies. People of Earth, you have been judged and found wanting. Your species has been observed for millennia. Your violence, your greed, your endless consumption. We are the Zarakians, custodians of order in this galaxy. You will surrender your weapons, your technology, and your independence. Resistance means extinction. You have 7 Earth days to comply. The message repeated in every human language simultaneously, broadcast not just to the fleet, but to every communication device on Earth and throughout the colonies. Panic spread instantly. In the war room of the USF headquarters beneath the Himalayan mountains, humanity's leadership gathered. President Alessandra Martinez stood at the head of the table, flanked by military commanders, scientists, and diplomats. What are our options? She asked. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Preliminary scans suggest they could destroy our entire fleet in minutes. Surrender is not an option, General Okafor said firmly. History has taught us what happens to civilizations that surrender to technologically superior invaders. Dr. Vikram Sharma, head of xenobiology, cleared his throat. There may be another way. The transmission mentioned they've been observing us for millennia. That means they must have had some presence in our solar system. If we could find it, study it. We need more information, President Martinez concluded. Admiral Chen, maintain a defensive posture but do not engage. Commander Reeves, I want you to lead a special operations team. Find anything these Iraqians might have left behind. Dr. Sharma will provide scientific support. Commander Elena Reeves was 36, with a reputation for brilliance under pressure. Born in the aftermath of the climate wars, she had seen humanity at its worst and its best. Her team consisted of the best specialists the USF could offer. Lieutenant Mai Zong, tech expert, Sergeant Damon Jackson, weapons specialist, Dr. Layla Nazari, xenolinguist, and Corporal Tarkik Nanda, stealth operations. Their search began in the Kuiper Belt, where ancient probes had detected unusual energy signatures decades ago, but were classified as natural phenomena. Now, with the Zirakian threat looming, those signatures took on new significance. The team's ship, the Phantom, was designed for stealth. As they approached the source of the energy signature, they discovered what appeared to be an asteroid. But as they drew closer, they realized it was no natural formation. "It's a structure," Lieutenant Zhang confirmed, her eyes widening as the scans revealed intricate patterns beneath the asteroid's surface. "And it's powered down, but not dead." They docked with caution. Inside, they found chambers filled with alien technology, dormant but intact. "This is incredible," Dr. Nazari whispered as she studied symbols etched into the walls. "This looks like a monitoring station. They'd been watching us, cataloging us." As they delved deeper, they discovered a central chamber with what appeared to be a data storage system. Lieutenant Zhang interfaced their systems cautiously. "It's encrypted, but wait." She frowned. "Some of this isn't Zarakian. It's older, like they built on top of something else." Hours of careful work revealed the truth. The Zarakians weren't the original builders. They had conquered whoever built the outpost and repurposed it. And within the ancient databanks, they found something unexpected: records of Zarakian defeats. "They're not invincible," Sergeant Jackson said as they reviewed the data. "They've lost before." Dr. Nazari's translation algorithms slowly deciphered the ancient records. According to this, the Zarakians have a hierarchical hive structure. Their ships, their weapons, even their soldiers are all controlled by a central intelligence. Disrupt that, and the entire system falls apart. But the most crucial discovery came from Corporal Nanda. In a sealed chamber, he found what appeared to be weapons, not Zarakian, but from the civilization that had fought them before. "They're quantum disruptors," Dr. Sharma explained when they transmitted the data back to Earth. "They target the specific frequency that the Zarakians use for their hive communication. With these, we could sever the connection between their central intelligence and their forces." The plan, codenamed Operation Starfall, took shape quickly. The disruptors couldn't reach the Zarakian mothership from Earth. They needed to be deployed directly onto the vessel itself. It would be a suicide mission, with minimal chance of survival. "I'll go," Commander Reeves volunteered without hesitation. "My team, and I will deliver the package." Admiral Chen looked at her protege with a mixture of pride and sorrow. "The chances of return are nearly zero." Reeves nodded. "Nearly zero isn't zero. And even if we don't come back, humanity survives. That's enough." As the deadline approached, humanity prepared. The colonies were evacuated. Citizens moved to underground shelters. The fleet positioned itself to buy the Phantom enough time to approach the Zarakian vessel undetected. On the night before the mission, Commander Reeves recorded a message for her 8-year-old daughter, Maya. "I don't know if I'll see you again," she said softly. "But everything I do for you and for all the children who deserve a future. Be brave, be kind, and remember that sometimes the greatest courage is knowing when to stand firm." The Phantom launched in silence, its stealth systems rendering it virtually invisible as it approached the massive Zarakian vessel. The plan was simple yet nearly impossible. Dock undetected, infiltrate to the central control hub, deploy the disruptors, and escape if possible. As they neared the alien ship, Lieutenant John whispered, "For Earth." Commander Reeves nodded grimly. "For humanity. For our one chance." The final hours of the deadline ticked away as the Phantom silently approached the alien vessel, carrying humanity's last, desperate hope. The final strike. The Zarakian mothership loomed before them, a twisted spire of black metal stretching over 20 kilometers from end to end. Up close, they could see that what appeared to be a solid structure was actually comprised of millions of smaller units, constantly shifting and realigning like a living organism. "It's beautiful, in a terrifying way," Dr. Nazari murmured as she studied the patterns. Commander Reeves kept her focus on the mission. "Zhang, any weak points in their detection grid?" Lieutenant Zhang studied her instruments. "There's a maintenance portal near what appears to be a waste elimination system. Their sensors are weaker there, probably because no one wants to monitor their own garbage." "Charming," Sergeant Jackson commented dryly. "We're infiltrating through an alien sewage system." "If it works, Reeves replied. "Nanda, you're on point." Let's move. The Phantom docked silently, magnetic clamps attaching to the Zyrakian hull. Wearing specialized suits designed to mask their heat signatures and equipped with the reverse-engineered disruptors, the team entered the alien vessel. Inside, the architecture defied human logic. Corridors twisted at impossible angles, gravity shifted unpredictably, and surfaces seemed to pulse with an inner light. They moved carefully, following Zhang's map based on the ancient station's data. "We need to reach the central neural nexus," Dr. Nazari explained. "It should be at the core of the ship." They encountered their first Zyrakian, an hour into the infiltration. The being stood over 2 meters tall, with a segmented exoskeleton and multiple limbs that moved with unsettling grace. Its head featured no eyes that they could recognize, just sensory pits that glowed with an inner purple light. Corporal Nanda moved first, a quick, silent takedown that prevented any alarm. They dragged the unconscious alien into a maintenance shaft. "It didn't call for help," John noted. "They must be so confident they're not even expecting infiltration." "Their overconfidence is our advantage," Reeves replied. "Keep moving." As they penetrated deeper into the ship, they began to understand the Zyrakian hierarchy. Worker drones moved with mechanical precision, while security units patrolled in predictable patterns. Everything suggested a species that relied on perfect order and obedience. The team used this predictability to avoid detection, timing their movements between patrols and masking their presence within the ship's routine operations. But as they neared the central core, security intensified. "This is it," John whispered as they reached a massive doorway pulsing with energy. "The neural nexus should be beyond this point, and it's heavily guarded," Jackson added, nodding toward the dozen Zyrakian sentinels positioned around the entrance. Commander Reeves assessed the situation. "We need a diversion. I can overload their waste elimination systems," Zhang suggested. "It would create enough chaos to draw attention away from the entrance." "Do it," Reeves ordered. The diversion worked. Alarms blared and most of the guards rushed to address the apparent system failure. The team slipped through the entrance and found themselves in a vast chamber unlike anything they had expected. The neural nexus wasn't a computer or a control room. It was organic. At the center of the chamber floated what appeared to be a massive brain, suspended in a transparent fluid and connected to the ship by countless pulsing tendrils. Around it orbited smaller nodules, each one apparently responsible for different ship functions. "This changes things," Dr. Nazari whispered. "It's not just a hive mind. It's a living central intelligence." Before they could deploy the disruptors, a voice echoed through the chamber, not over speakers, but directly in their minds. "Humans, you are more resourceful than we anticipated." The central brain pulsed, and the doors sealed behind them. Security drones entered through hidden passages surrounding the team. "Your species continues to surprise us," the voice continued. "Most civilizations surrender immediately. A few fight conventionally and are destroyed. None have ever penetrated a mothership." Commander Reeves stepped forward. "We won't surrender our freedom. We won't be subjugated. Freedom is inefficient. Individuality leads to chaos. We bring order. You bring extinction." Reeves countered. "We've seen your records. You don't assimilate. You eliminate any species that can't be controlled completely." The brain pulsed again, and the security drones moved closer. "Then you understand why you must be eliminated. Humans are too unpredictable, too individual." Reeves glanced at her team. They had planned for this possibility, a final option if they couldn't escape. The disruptors weren't just designed to sever communications. When overloaded, they could generate a quantum cascade that would destroy the neural nexus completely. But such an explosion would be impossible to outrun. "Everyone, execute Protocol Omega," Reeves commanded. Each team member activated their disruptor, linking them together to form a quantum web. The devices began to hum, building power. "What are you doing?" The alien voice seemed concerned for the first time. "Giving you humanity's final warning," Reeves replied. "You misjudged us. We value our freedom more than our lives. And if you threaten our existence, we will fight back with everything we have." The neural nexus pulsed frantically as it realized the threat. The security drones rushed forward, but it was too late. "This is from humanity," Reeves said, her voice steady. "One final blow, and your existence is erased." Lieutenant Zhang looked at the commander. "I set the Phantom to broadcast what happens here to every communication channel. The entire Zarakian fleet will know." "Good," Reeves nodded. "Sergeant Jackson, the honor is yours." Jackson's finger hovered over the final activation. "For Earth," he said, and pressed the button. The quantum cascade began, energy building around the team. The Zarakian brain writhed in distress as its connection to the fleet was severed. In that moment, something unexpected happened. Dr. Nazari, who had been studying the neural patterns, suddenly stepped forward. "Wait, I'm receiving a transmission, different from before. I think it's afraid." The voice that came next was different, weaker, almost childlike. "Please, stop. I surrender." Dr. Nazari's eyes widened. "It's not one being. It's many, forced into a collective. The dominant intelligence is losing control as the connection weakens." Commander Reeves made a split-second decision. She modified the disruptor's frequency, not to destroy but to permanently sever the forced connections. "Listen carefully," she said to the weakening intelligence. "This is humanity's message. We will not be conquered. We will not be exterminated. But we are also not destroyers unless forced to be. We're offering you a choice: retreat, leave our solar system, and never return. Or be destroyed, not just here, but across your entire fleet." The cascade had begun, impossible to stop completely, but Reeves' modifications changed its nature. Instead of destroying the neural nexus, it transformed it, breaking the forced connections while maintaining life support. Throughout the Zarakian fleet, the iron control of the central intelligence faltered. Individual Zarakians, many forced into the collective against their will over millennia of conquest, suddenly found themselves with autonomy they hadn't possessed in generations. Chaos erupted briefly. Then something remarkable happened. The ship began to retreat, pulling away from Earth. Similar movements spread throughout the fleet as the newly liberated Zarakians chose survival over a war they had never wanted. In the neural chamber, alarms blared as the ship's systems reconfigured. Escape routes opened as emergency protocols activated. "We might actually survive this," Jackson said in disbelief. "Run," Commander Reeves ordered. "Back to the Phantom. Now." They raced through the corridors, no longer needing to hide as the ship's occupants were too disoriented to stop them. They reached the Phantom with minutes to spare before the mothership jumped into hyperspace, retreating to the edge of the solar system. From the safety of the Phantom, they watched as the Zarakian fleet regrouped, no longer a perfect, synchronized armada, but a collection of individual ships with individual commanders making their own decisions. A final transmission reached them. "Humanity has proven itself worthy of existence. We withdraw. But know this, your reputation will spread. The species that stood against the collective and offered mercy instead of destruction. The species that values freedom above all. We will not forget. When they returned to Earth, they were heroes." The Phantom's broadcast had shown the entire world what had happened, how a small team had saved humanity not through superior firepower, but through understanding their enemy and offering a third option beyond conquest or extinction. Admiral Chen met them on the landing pad. "You've changed everything, Elena. Not just for Earth, but for the galaxy." In the years that followed, humanity expanded cautiously into the stars. They discovered other species, some fleeing Zarakian conquest, others simply curious about the humans who had broken the most powerful empire in the known galaxy. Commander Reeves, now Admiral Reeves, led the first diplomatic mission beyond the solar system. Among the delegation was her daughter Maya, now a xenolinguist following in Dr. Nazari's footsteps. The message they carried was simple. Humanity extends a hand in peace, But remember our warning. Threaten our existence, and your own will be at risk. We prefer to be friends, but we will never be slaves. Throughout the galaxy, the story spread. The humans of Earth, who stood on the brink of extinction and responded not with surrender but with a strike so precise it freed an empire rather than destroying it. The species that valued freedom so highly they would die for it, yet valued life enough to offer mercy when victory was assured. Humanity's final warning became their first greeting to the stars, powerful, principled, and uncompromising in defense of their freedom, yet guided by compassion, even in their darkest hour. The legend of Earth grew, and the universe watched with new respect as humanity took its place among the stars.